Alrighty then. So, hello everybody. Hello there, buddy. So, hello everybody, and welcome to episode 72 of Shoot the Breeze, the episode that will basically be the end for the year of 2021 here on hand here. In addition, it's going to be one of my more unique episodes here, especially with my guests here today for what they have planned here. So, my guest for tonight on hand here is, well, he is one of the most kind-hearted individuals you will ever meet, no matter where it is on hand, as well as a very good intended person for all things considered to help out another person on hand, including groups of people in general. He is the founder behind the Max Recovery charity event, as well as basically one of the key people from back in the day on hand of when VR chat pretty much started for the most part. So my guest for tonight here is MysticalCyan, but we will call him Cyan for short. Welcome on in. Actually, thank you for having me here as well, too. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. I was going to say, just thank you on hand just because of the fact that I am definitely going to be facing my fears today on hand for this. So, and for all things considered here. So, but let's go ahead and get down to business on hand with the first following question. How the hell did we meet?
I think we met by chance whenever I was starting up Max Recovery. And we were inviting a bunch of different people we were finding throughout different kind of communities that were content creators. And I think I invited you either through someone's community. I saw you pop up, and then I decided to send you that little message of like, hey, you want to join this charity event? And then you just accepted it, and that's how we met.
Yeah. I remember offhand, I believe, I can't remember whose community it was that you might have found me from, but I believe it was either CC's or it was, I'm trying to think on here, because it's been a while since I've thought about it on hand, but I know for a fact, yeah, our first encounter on hand was through Max Recovery charity event. That was in 2018. 4 years, and here we are, so, well, close to 4 years, but still, yeah, hell of a ride on hand here, and I was happy enough to be able to come aboard and just be able to, you know, do what I can to help out, especially in my own whatever unique ways I could. And not only that, I think after that we got a chance to basically bump into each other whenever we get a chance or so on VR chat, or I guess whenever that possibility will be on hand, including on streams as well, especially whenever I get a chance to raid you here and there. So, but yeah, that was a humble beginning on hand too. Especially being able to watch Max Recovery get off the ground and just be able to go for where it's gone places on hand here and just see it keep growing on hand, which was nice. Nice indeed. So, but
Holy smokes, yes.
Yeah, indeed on hand here. So,
It's been very fantastic.
Pretty much, it has. Just to see it and everything on hand here. So let me ask you a question on hand here, and that's about your VR chat origins. What got you started in VR chat on hand?
So I started VR chat after watching a bunch of YouTube videos in late 2017. I originally started as a Steam player, but then I moved really shortly after, like a month or so, into a proper like VR chat account. And I started hanging around. The things that really kept me locked down was like meeting a bunch of random people and like parties and stuff. And the Nags community was originally something I was a part of. And that was where I pretty much started off in VR chat, was through Nags and Spaz Koga.
Oh, I got you. And I was gonna say, for at that time or so on hand, especially with especially with Nags' community and Spaz Koga's, were you able to tell the difference between on hand with each group on hand, especially how they, not in the sense of operating, but how they kind of like formed and basically how they, you know, became friends with one another or so, or just, you know, how the chemistry is on hand with them?
I think mainly the interactions with Spaz always was like they were mainly kind of like a solo individual. They kind of like ran around eating people. They were a zombie like girl, and they would just run around, pretty much just eat people. They would make avatars based on they would ask people for their avatars, and then they would eat them. They would come up with some customized way. I think the first thing I met with Spaz was them eating Emmett when he was like pieces of popcorn. Was the thing that I met
remember.
on. And then Nags, I got attached through his videos, and so I subscribed to his Patreon, and so I was part of one of his first few Patrons during the time. And while I didn't really interact too much with him, unless it was like a specific meetup or it was by chance, I hung around a lot with his community members, and that's where I really like grew up upon, was just interacting with a lot of different individuals through there.
I got you. I never actually, on the top of my head, I don't think. Well, actually, now that I think about it, I may have encountered Spaz Coca maybe a few times on hand, because it was during that time on hand in VR chat where basically, when everybody was like in a public lobby or so, or friends and guests, you basically would just encounter them at random chances on hand here when you least expect it. It's like one of those like rare encounters you ever see, or just like one of those moments where it's like, oh, fancy seeing them here. I wonder what they're doing. And then lo and behold, you just see like Spaz basically being like 7 foot tall or something big on hand, just basically making something in a blender or something. I think it was Emmett at one point. But yeah, it was just kind of...
Emmett was a big target.
Yeah, big target on hand here. And yeah, I do remember those times on hand too with Spaz where they would just basically take like random streamers and basically, I think it was in their world they had, which was like this giant like, not gore fest, but it was like very satanic in a way, or so I want to describe it, especially for how you enter it and just see like a lot of different things here and there. But I just remember seeing a lot of interesting things they've kind of made through that on hand. I guess just as not as a scare factor, but more like a shock factor at best, right? Or is it just
Yeah, it was mainly for shock factor.
I got you. And as far as like nags on hand, I want to assume that when it came to nags, I've only met him maybe once, and that was the only time I've ever met. I've never got a chance to see him again because as you know, he pretty much did what I think he comes on maybe once in a while or so, since he's kind of like doing his own thing. But when I met him on hand, he was like the most chillest individual I've ever met or so on hand. Like just kind of like, you know, down to earth on hand. So
he's just very busy usually.
Yeah.
I kind of like split off from him, but from what I can remember from interactions with hanging around, it's just busy.
Busy? I got you. No, I got you. I mean, it's fair because keep in mind, he's got like all these different kind of things he's doing on hand, just kind of like expanding in his own unique way for what he's doing, as far as I could tell on hand. But hey, he's doing his best. He's doing his best in what he enjoys to do. So hey, kudos to him. So hopefully it's going well for him. That's a key thing. Who knows? We might one time or so we might be able to get a chance to see him again. It's just a matter of finding time when that time will come on hand. So, but let me ask you this on hand here, and that's being hobbies on hand besides VR chat in general. Now, I had to have a look a little bit on hand because I do remember for a fact you used to play 7 Days to Die. I know for a fact that at certain points on hand you did like League of Legends on hand, and in addition, before we got this interview started, you were talking about Halo Infinite. But I was going to ask, besides those kind of games in general, what other things do you do besides that in general, like anything hobby-wise or so, that can also include video gaming?
Well, I guess it's kind of like a hobby in a way, but kind of not. It's also kind of my actual job that I'm doing, but I like to treat it kind of a hobby because I enjoy doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But right now I'm an intern for a social work mental health rehabilitation clinic, and that has been activity. So it's a lot of I've been doing a lot of volunteer work, making food boxes for homeless people and families that are extremely impoverished. I've been going around in different communities, helping assess mental health stuff. I even took on calls for the National Suicide Line and a mental health emotional support line as well. So, you know, I guess it's in a way a hobby, but also kind of like my job because I really do enjoy doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I help do beekeeping now and then with my dad. I like to play pretty much any huge, absolute variety of games that I can just get my hands on. I like to cook. Cooking is fun.
Mm-hmm.
I do enjoy making a lot of things with rice. You know, I'm partly Korean, so I mean, it kind of pops up there. Other than that, I just like to relax and watch YouTube.
Nah, that's fair.
Music. hot showers, long watches, like long, nice walks on beaches during the sunset.
Ah, the classics.
But there's no beaches here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just a vibing gaming dude that just likes to chill out.
Yeah.
I do actually do walks. I do walks on nature trails, but it's been extremely muddy, so I haven't been able to do that a lot. But you know, it's just my variety of hobbies I do, I guess.
I will say on hand, especially from the things you've listed on hand for what you do for the most part, I will say you definitely take in the little wonders on hand and be able to kind of like just show on hand on, you know, how much, you know, how much good and beauty can come out of it on hand, especially for how the smallest thing can be, just to be able to show the greatest wonder out of it. And also that or so, I can already tell on the fact that basically you do a lot just to be able to help out as many people as you can on hand, because I believe you're pretty much the helping type on hand. That's basically your personality, right?
Yes.
Yes? Mm-hmm. I could tell.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're fine. You're all good.
Yes.
You're all good on hand here. So, yeah, I just kind of noticed it on hand that that's basically your inner core being on hand, just to be able to try to help out and just do what you can, because you just pretty much are the helpful type. So, I just noticed that on hand. Noticed that for the start, but that pretty much solidified it on hand even more for it. So, yeah. But,
You know, speaking about helping, here, let me, here, take this.
yep, I'll take that. Yep.
Take that. Yeah, you're gonna need it more than I am.
Oh, boy. All right. Well, yep, it's going to be that weird time on hand, guys.
You'll take point, okay? You're gonna go in first, all right?
Okay.
I'm right behind you.
All right.
Get your gun ready. Get the gun ready.
Yeah, I'm getting ready. I'm just kind of putting this out so that way people can see. So long story short, this is going to be interesting ones on hand because MysticalCyan wants me to. We're going to go in here and basically shoot, well, spiders. So if there's one thing 2021 is going to cap off, it's basically me capping off my fear here. So we're going to be doing that. So yep, we're going to try to see if we can reach the halfway point, and then be good to go.
Okay, give me a second here.
No. Go ahead. I'll let you know. Let me know when you're ready, and we're gonna see this through. Let me push this all the way back here, so you guys can see. But yeah, this is gonna be something very interesting.
Aim the gun at the door. Aim the gun at the door. Just run through, man. You got this.
Okay. Oh. What? What? Okay, well, I was expecting it was gonna be spiders. Well, okay. What? What is
up? Resume the interview here then.
Okay, I guess. What? How?
Hey, take a seat.
Yeah, okay, I'll take a seat. All right, well, that was something. Okay, yeah, I'll take a seat here. Hold on a second. Very interesting on it. Who's the person on the wall, if I can ask? I just need to know, because that's interesting. Yeah, I'll take a seat here, and also let me get this stretched out so that way everybody can see ya. God. Okay, well, yeah, we'll go and do this here. I don't know what to say. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't know what to say on hand here. Trying to get this.
Listen, words aren't necessary here.
Yeah, words are definitely not necessary here on hand. That's for sure. So, all right. Trying to stretch it.
Just sit back and relax on this nice.
Yeah.
Cheetah leather
bed. As bad as relaxed as I can.
My girlfriend.
No, I won't. I don't even know. It looks like I'm about to beat up whoever this is on hand. By the way, it looks like I'm like in the fisticuff pose from the way it looks. But yeah.
Yeah, that world sounds on, right?
Oh, yeah, let me do that real quickly. I was like, let me see this. Yeah, okay, I hear it. Yeah, I hear that careless whisper.
There we go. Now we are in a proper setting for an interview.
Yeah, now we are. I heard it. Jeez. But yeah. Okay, so get right back on hand here, which actually caught me off guard completely. So, getting back on hand here. So, what was the game that basically was your introduction in game entirely on hand? What would that be, for the most part? StarCraft?
StarCraft 1. Yep, StarCraft 1. That was the game. That was my upbringing. I played StarCraft skirmishes a lot, but then I got into the custom games and the arcade and stuff. And so that was like my first introduction to really like communicating with people. So that was like technically my first instance of gaming, but if I had to go into detail about like my first proper like thing I've ever done gaming wise, like in a community, wise and like in gaming and whatnot, probably Minecraft would probably be my first
Minecraft. I got you.
at that point. I joined like a big server and made like a bunch of friends off that. I still talked to a few of them, but it's been a long time with a bunch of them. But either StarCraft, first ever game I ever played, and then Minecraft is like the first time I ever really delved into communities.
I got you. I will say I am for the most part entirely. Like, especially with Minecraft or so, it's one of those games where you're gonna have fun no matter what multiplayer-wise, but it's always one of those things where it gets a little bit complex on hand, especially once you dive into some of the mods on hand entirely. You know, where you want to try a lot of things on hand, but there's like a lot of technical stuff on hand, especially if you try to get your own server up and running or so, or like a little bit of loops and bounds on hand just to get to it. But yeah, I feel you on hand, especially just for it or so. I will say with StarCraft on hand, how difficult of a game was it to try to play it on hand? I know it's like one of those real-time strategies, but is it just kind of like one of those things you get used to at the start?
Oh, bro, it's hard. It's hard as hell. I to be honest with you, I was like a kid, so I had no idea what I was doing, so I used cheats the entire time.
No, that's fair.
Like when you're a little kid and you're like diving into something, you don't know what you're doing. So I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. I'm not one of those natural StarCraft players. I was dumb. You know, I just cheat. I use cheats because I couldn't beat levels.
No, I see. I feel you on hand. I feel you. I'm trying to remember what was a game that I've actually cheated at for the most part on hand, especially at a younger age. I'll probably have to check and see. It'll probably come back to me when I least expect it on hand. But yeah, I when it comes to like the real-time strategies, it's one of those games where it's just kind of like it keeps you on your toes just for the longest time, just to even try to figure out where everything is. So I know the feeling.
Yeah.
So let's get down to some interesting topics on hand I was going to ask you. Let me talk about the VR chat scene on hand. Now, in this current time of where we are right now, what are your immediate thoughts about VR chat at this moment with it when it comes to it?
I like it. Originally I had my, criticisms before about the whole game, because I mean I felt things were stagnating, they weren't developing in a weird way, in like a good way that I thought was appropriate. But then actual stuff started rolling out this year, especially like in the mid-mark, I think is when they started going really crazy with the updates and patches. So now I feel like VR chat is in an extremely good state. Of course, you still got those problems with people, stealing avatars or crashing you by chance or whatnot. But honestly, I think this game is like in an extremely ripe state where you can freely go into like different public worlds and meet people, and it won't be that bit of a problem. I've been going around visiting people in public worlds with some of my friends, just meeting new people, hanging out, playing those new game worlds. Especially the Quest users are just so precious. And then you got all the different variety of range of communities. You got the Japanese, like Eastern Asian community, like Japan, China, and South Korea, Taiwan, the Philippines, and stuff like that you can meet in the early mornings of, like, United States time. You got like the different like heavy drinking games. You got like the like communities and whatnot, or you got like the regular lads who just pop out the random time, or my favorites are all of the Quest users. Whenever you meet them, whenever they're like getting in Quest for the first time, and you get your own little Quest avatar, and you meet them in like either like the Black Cat or some of the game worlds.
Yep.
And just their reactions to like VR for the first time. It's just super entertaining. I think today and like nowadays, VR chat has kind of like really picked itself back up and being more friendly to people in public worlds. And I think now is the time for people to really go out.
No, I feel it. I feel it on hand. Especially in the sense of, I don't even think Quest users even realize on hand they've got an advantage over, like, especially when it comes to like Vive stuff, in the sense that with the virtual desktop, or with the virtual, I believe it's virtual desktop on hand, they're able to see, like, once they connect her, they're able to go through, like, say, like a Steam VR or so, and then be able to just see everything on hand here. They don't need a cord for it. They're able to see all that, which I feel like is really good on hand, because it actually gives them more opportunities on hand for them to be able to do, like, wireless, like, full body if they want to. Sure, it may not be, like, the greatest charge on hand, since, like, I think a Quest only lasts for, like, what, 2 hours or so, or 3? In the sense of, like, one charge?
You can plug it in now.
Well, you can plug it in, yeah. You definitely can plug it into a tower and everything, and it'll just basically be on infinite charge. You can do that. So...
Speaking more about the scene of VR chat, I think it's even more appropriate that it's in this good state, especially nowadays with everything going on. People being barred. I think the social experience is an extremely healthy thing that people should interact with. I mean, you don't get as immersed into a game except, when you have VR on. I think VR adds that huge immersion factor, and I think having that availability with Quest and everything is an extremely positive thing now. And seeing all these people who've never experienced VR and the immersion, who probably can't really go out as much or hang out with their friends more often, or, because either the weather's being awful or, real world events are occurring, barring them from doing such a thing, I think VR chat is such a good environment for people to just meet other people. Of course, it's online, so, it's the internet, so sometimes shenanigans can occur. But I still think I think VR chat is just in its best state now.
It is. I can see it as it is, especially, I mean, keep in mind, it still amazes me on hand that, you're able to, like before VR chat, or before while I was in development, there was, like, Skype, and then, then Discord came around. You're able to talk to people across the world or so. Now, you can actually see them. You can actually see them, be able to move their hands around, and just be able to, like, actually see them on hand. It's not just a voice, there's actually a body there. And that's a hell of an improvement on hand, and actually is a very good development, too. Just to be able to have that.
Being in a long distance relationship and having VR chat, which, I mean, I met her through VR chat, but being in a long distance relationship and having VR chat and just being unable to, like, see each other in real life, but, interacting with that sort of, like, body language of just, like, hugging or just being near each other, like, that presence has been a big game changer in my point of view in regards to how I perceive things now in a social environment wise. I think this is, social living. It is a proper social interaction, and an actual down the earth, like, interaction. It may not be, like, touchy feely interacting via, like, in person or getting drinks and stuff, like, those happen, but it's surprisingly not as common as you might think when you go out. You don't go out as often to visit friends or hang out with people nowadays, especially as an adult. But, being able to spend your free time like this in VR chat, I think is, like, a very big difference and a big game changer on mental health.
It is. It definitely is. No, that you just be able to feel closer to those that you never thought you'd be able to relate to, even if they're that far away on hand. It just basically bridges that together, too, which is nice. Which is very nice.
It's a constant, too. I mean, when you go out at home to play video games, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of free time on your hand at that point to spend for a few hours. You do your work, you go to sleep, but then you come home and you have nothing else to do, so you play video games. You spend a lot of time playing video games, even with a good work, with a 48-hour work schedule. So just putting that in perspective, that you'll be able to spend that time interacting with other individuals is extremely positive.
It is. It very much is on hand. So, let me ask you this question about the Max Recovery Charity event. Now, the origin behind it. What exactly got you the idea and vision on hand to be able to have that and start it up on hand at that time? Like, what inspired you to have it? Nags?
Nags did. Yep. So Nags did. It was actually my first ever thing I really did for charity. It was like a 24-hour charity event thing that Nags did, and I was, like, there from the beginning to the end. Me, Egg, and Nags woke up super early in the morning, and we were playing board games and playing other different kind of variety of games and chatting and, like, watching stuff throughout the entire 24 hour, even though I passed out in the middle of it. But that was one thing, like, and how much I think we raised like $34,000 during that one, like, 24-hour session. And that made me, like, realize, like, wow, we could seriously make a freaking difference just by using an online environment And so I decided to get Prophet Lemon, and I was like, "Hey Lemon, should we make a charity group?" And he was just like, "You know what? That's actually a pretty good idea." He's not around as often in Max Recovery, but in like the more open scene. But he is like very much active behind the scenes, doing things, redirecting people and stuff like that, and managing stuff behind the scenes. And he is the actual co-founder. So it was me and Prophet Lemon who started it up. That we wanted to begin it off, and so we thought, like, how should we do this? And we were just like, screw it, man, let's just invite random people that we see. And that's how we kicked that off.
Yep. And
so
like
that's how it really started off.
Yeah, and lo and behold too, like those who basically started out at the side are still with you here, especially being able to constantly try to do a good thing on hand here, just to be able to help out as many people as we can. Even going beyond our limits on hand, just to be able to make sure that we're able to do a lot of things, you know, for a good reason.
You'd be surprised how much like $10 can seriously make a difference for a week of someone. Like, I don't think people like really can understand that. Like, you know, of course you gotta pay bills for electricity and internet and whatnot. But surprisingly, I think like those are kind of like a superficial thing. It's kind of like a necessity that happens. It's not really that effective to you as much as you might believe. It's like food and like, you know, paying for like getting water and food and maybe like a battery or something to heat something up, or even just like having some little bit of hardware to do stuff. Like just like 10 or 20 bucks can seriously make a huge difference in someone's life and help get them started to keep going. Since I've been working in the social worker scene, we've been having, we help, like, we have grants and whatnot where we help, like, provide for people, or food boxes and whatnot. And some of these food boxes are worth, like, not that much. And, like, maybe like an $8 steak or something that's, like, in the box for free. Or something like that. But, like, that amount, just that little amount of food, and people are just ingenious enough to be able to stretch that over the course of an entire week to keep themselves going for so long. And that means just having that little bit of like supply can completely remove a huge portion of stress away from that individual, so they can focus on another thing they're doing. You know, as a social worker myself, like those little things, that when you take something out of the equation that adds in stress, that adds a problem, it really starts to open up time, open up the ability for someone to be able to handle and do things. It takes away stress, and stress, I think, is a very big deciding factor on like being incapable of doing something. So, you know, just the money we're raising, even if we only raise like a few $1,000s, maybe if we're like having a bad week or something like that, or a bad day, you know, just that little amount of money goes to that little goal. Goes to whatever humanitarian society that we decide to choose on, will make a very much dramatic difference on someone's life, because it will take that bad portion away temporarily for that time being, so it allows themselves to really kick up and really push forward without that sort of distraction happening on that sort of side.
I got you on hand. And trust me, the smallest wonders on hand definitely will make a change for people's lives on hand, especially for those who are the unfortunate ones. Especially nowadays or so, while we're still going through a lot of things on hand here and there. Like, it makes a difference. It really does.
Yeah. It's surprising how little, like, what people don't understand, like, these little things can seriously make a difference. Most people will try to push back certain stressors, or push back, like, not do certain opportunities that, like, help get rid of something. In the mentality of saying, like, it's probably not worth it, that's not really going to make much of a difference. But just taking an example, this is kind of like a little bit of example, a light headache, right? You're having a light headache, but you don't want to take aspirin because you're like, ugh, it's just a little bit of waste of time. It's, you know, I could spend that little few minutes doing something else. And you might not think it, but people do have that mentality. But, you know, when that little bit of a headache can cause so much ache throughout the entire day, even if it's not really that, like, consciously aware, subconsciously, you know, those little bits of details can add on and just really cause hell on someone's mentality, like their current mental and physical health. And I think, you know, mental health is a more priority over physical health, because, you know, it goes hand in hand. Of course, physical health being declined can cause mental health problems, but I think mental health problems will cause problems across the board regardless. Yeah. But you just take that little bit of aspirin, that little headache goes away, and all of a sudden your day can just be a flash better.
No, I feel you. Actually, now that I think about it, I think it's mostly along the lines, too, that basically, while you've got, like, a lot of things on hand you're trying to do here and there or so, it's one of those moments where you just don't want to stop to take a break or here, just because you feel like at the end, you know, if you do all this, then you could take a break or so. But it's one of those moments, too, where the word constantly keeps flowing or so. Like, there's not really a stopping point, especially in life of what you do, where you can easily just, like, take a break at the end of it or so. It's always, like, around that portion when you need to. Or so. Yeah, it'll constantly like
Breaks
stack
are
up.
vital.
Yeah.
I will straight up say it. You know, you could stack everything. You can just throw everything like at once into something and just to get it done out of the way. Breaks are extremely vital. It'll make everything so much more efficient for you. It'll make you more enjoyable in the situation and not stress you out. And I think that, and you know, some other countries are taking up and adopting that sort of kind of mentality of being able to include more mental health benefits, such as, you know, breaks during some certain occasions. And I think we need to adopt that more. And so, you know, that's one of the big things in max recovery that we push, especially when, you know, times are tough and we know we're not like the toppest of the ippity boppity and things are just extremely rough during the time with certain events going on. If you can't do something, don't stress about it. Take your break. Take your relaxed time. We ain't gonna push you. If you can't make that certain schedule, oh well, man. You know, just you can do it another time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and usually that's like the hardest pill to swallow on hand. Even if you know you gotta take care of yourself, you know, it's one of those things where, because understand mental health wise or so, the mindset of that or so, especially when taking a breaks or so, is just kind of like, you know, you want to help, but you feel like that if you don't help immediately at that time or so, you feel like you're either letting people down or you feel like in your own head that you're not able to do stuff on hand, which honestly, when it comes down to it or so, everybody has an understanding on hand when it comes to mental health or so, to know that basically you're looking out for yourself to be able to heal better or so. Even if you can't be there in full body, you can at least be there in spirit knowing that you're rooting everybody on. So.
Yeah. Like, just take it from me, guys. If your health is declining, any reasonable person that's your friend, or just a regular human being after all, if they know that your health is declining, you gotta come clean about it, especially when it comes to work. You know, tell them like, I'm having surgery, or I got injured, or I'm having extreme problems, and blah blah blah. Like you gotta come clean about that, especially to your friends, because I highly doubt your friends would ever hold it against you that you can't do something because you're not doing good.
Yeah. No, I know the feeling. Especially with some of my friends in general. Like, they make sure to remind me on hand to take a break while I can, or just be able to, like, push everything to side and just relax, you know? I've got people like that, and I know you got people like that, too. So. But, let me ask you about this. Now, let me ask about what is it like being a streamer or a content creator on your side? When you first started and everything, like when your humble beginnings, and as time goes by, you know, year after year or so, you begin gaining knowledge and experience in your own ways of discovering, or maybe a simple tip that was taught to you by somebody else on hand or so. What is it like, pretty much, as streaming and just being able to do things you enjoy to do, but as well as try to provide entertainment to everybody else?
70% hell, 30% fun.
That's a fair adjustment.
It's a fun experience. It's a fun experience. I think it's extremely fun to just have people join you on certain adventures that they may not be able to join, or just need some time to spend with somebody else. Mm-hmm. And I love, like, chatting with people, hanging out with them. But, you know, some people will, you know, throw out the number, don't pay attention to the number game. But sometimes it really does affect you, especially if you're trying to make, you know, like, try to strive, reach goals, reach milestones. Sometimes the number game can really hit you, or sometimes all of a sudden you got, like, no one watching it. It's just a bummer sometimes, you know? Like, your mind will reach that sometimes. Or maybe there's an interaction between other streamers and you somehow got involved because you're a streamer yourself, and, you know, drama is a thing. And I will say that streaming can be an extremely stressful environment, an extremely unfun environment, a very bitter environment. And then, you know, sometimes I think it can get in the way of things, personally. I took off a break when I first met my first friend group and met, you know, my girlfriend. that I stopped streaming for 10 because I wanted to spend that time focusing on that, and I didn't want that to be streamed. But, you know, some people don't like being streamed, so that can kind of put a hamper on things. And it's no problem against that, but, you know, it's just that conflict of interest sort of thing that, you know, sometimes being in this sort of environment is just, it can be barring for others, barring for some. It can be extremely stressful, and it can drain you mental-wise.
No, I feel
It's just hard to find that right balance when you are being a streamer, because it takes time to do things. And, you know, some people aren't lucky to be able to pull in those few hours for it and be successful, and some people have to pull in a lot of hours just to be successful, and juggling your different responsibilities. It's just, I think it's 70% hell and 30% fun. But, you know, that 30% fun is really, really enjoyable and really does add on. But that 70% hell, man, is just a pain in my ass.
Yeah, especially when you know you put a lot of work in. No, you're fine. You're fine. I call it brutal honesty.
Okay.
You're fine. I call it brutal honesty for the most part. That's my policy. Literally, it's what you feel, and that's the most important thing. You know? That's the thing. But I know the feeling on hand when it comes to it. And especially, I understand, it's mostly work on hand because you want to be able to provide fun for everybody else, as well as be able to provide fun for yourself. It's also, too, where basically, like, sometimes maybe your energy gets split off here and there or so because, you know, you're trying to entertain everybody in chat, and then you basically try to entertain yourself on hand of what you're seeing, or basically trying to figure things out on hand. And yeah, it is what I can say it is, but for the most part on hand, as long as you're able to make it enjoyable for yourself, I believe that's the important part, really. Because otherwise, if you're doing this just for a business practice on hand, then, you know, you're not going to enjoy anything when it comes down to it.
Oh, well, you do it for work, man. It sucks, dude.
Yeah.
I'm just so glad that, like, I've gotten to the mentality of just enjoying the experience and just riding the waves, you know. But before it was all about like, oh, I need to stream today or blah 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 blah. But now I'm just like, I just want to stream what I want to.
Yeah, there you go.
Then again, you know, during that time as well, my mental health was declining, but now I'm getting back into things in a little bit more of a positive stance. So I'm good.
There you go. I'm glad it's coming. I'm glad you're able to basically get back on it and just be able to have like a more positive vibe to it, as well as just basically feel a lot better too. That's the key thing. That is the key thing entirely. So, speaking of which, and we talked about it a little bit on, you know, on hand when it comes to like almost motivation, if you will, of what you gotta do here and there, as well as just the things on hand of what, you know, what you enjoy, to some of the things, you know, you gotta go through hell for, to some of the things that, you know, when it comes down to doing the right thing, you know, it gets to it with a certain amount of, you know, inspiration on hand. But my question for you is, what is the motivation that keeps you going? Like, what inspires you to do the things you know you want to do?
I like just being able, like, for what I'm doing, when it comes to, like, my real life work, it's helping people, you know. When you're delving in social work, it's not like something like being a medic or being a police officer. You know, you're handling that sort of situation when it happens. And when you delve into social work, it's more of handling the issues so it never happens again. So we delve a lot more into the deeper mental psyches of things that are going on behind the scenes, like different kind of stressors or environmental cues and hints and little bits of detail, and we really go deep into that just to figure out what's causing these problems, so we make sure it does not affect this person's life ever again, and they'll be able to go back into a stable position. So, you know, it's being able to help people in that setting that really motivates me to be a social worker. For streaming wise, we're fine. You know, I can't lie about this, but the little bit of money that pops up helps a lot. You know, I mean, I'm not exactly the most richest person in the world, but the generous individuals that pop into the stream to, you know, support me, it really does help with the motivation a little bit. But it's mainly just that idea. It would feel so unusual. I just love being able to, like, share my moments. You know, you share your moments with your friend, and it's just like, yeah, the friend knows, and you try to tell a story, and it's like, sometimes it doesn't come off as fantastic as it does. But then when you have people with you behind the scenes, kind of watching with you and cheering you on, or laughing at the same funny joke, or laughing at the kind of mistake you do, it makes gaming more fun for me, and that's why I find that more motivating. Max recovery, because we can make differences, and we've been making differences, and it's been really, really good, really good on me to know that, like, that's been doing that. And my girlfriend, she's been, and my friends, my girlfriend and my friends, especially the girlfriend, she's been extremely supportive. She's been going through a lot of stress, and sometimes that stress kind of comes from me, because unfortunately I'm a cuddly, needy piece of shit, but she's like always, she's extremely hardworking and very family oriented, so she's always interacting with her family. So sometimes we don't get the time together, but that time together that we do have together has been the biggest difference in the world. It makes me the happiest little berry that's ever existed. And she's always been so supportive and really helps push, and we understand each other perfectly in the sense of like what we believe. You know, it's in my opinion an extremely healthy relationship, and it really helps push me and keeps me going and moving forward too. It's like a really big part of that. And my friends are also extremely super caring, and they're always on point. Like Delta, Dectwa, or if you know him, is a little bastard, and if he immediately discovers something's going wrong, he's on me. Same with like a few people like Twisted or you know, Metallic and a bunch of other folks. They're all on it. They're all extremely on it. And then we got, you know, some of the viewers like, you know, Democulus, Green Stripe, there's Psycho Neko, you know, Zamiles on those, Shotgun. Like I got a lot of friends that I know I can rely on that if I'm having problems, and I'm not noticing it myself. And sometimes you don't notice your own issues, but they're noticing a difference in me. You know, I have the opportunity, and thank God, the support of these people that will just smack me in the back of the head if something goes wrong.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I can tell you on hand, I know that feeling perfectly well, especially with those I have friends, and then I have family on hand, and especially those who are able to kind of like smack you in the back of your head and say, hey, what's going on, buddy? You know, especially if they notice your own, if they've been around you for the longest time, they know a difference in your own tone as well as feeling on hand. Like, that separates basically, you know, those you got a chance to know around, and those who are actually sticking close to you to be able to, like, know you, the individual, more. You know? Which, it's key, it helps. It really helps on hand. So, I have a couple different topics on hand I was going to ask you about. So, we talked about the VR chat scene, but I want to talk about the VR chat current and present. Now, in your humble beginnings, when you first started VR chat, and compare it to here and now, what are some of the things you are glad that have been changed over the course of time, be it system, security, just overall feeling, depending on what that is, to some of the things you wish have not changed over that course of time on hand? That I wish could have been stayed the same.
Avatar 3.0,
Avatar 3.0?
Udon, and this new camera are literally the three greatest things this game needed. Like, Avatar 3.0 has made avatars be so much more varied. I think it's less of a headache for creators that do, like, crazy cool things. You know, being able to put, like, an avatar that can do certain different things, or change outfits, or hundreds of different expressions. You know, it adds more fun to the game. It really adds that nice little variety it really needed. Udon as well. I mean, we wouldn't have systems like this where you'd have this little dumbass camera where you apparently wanted to punch like some poor sap who's in love with you. And, like, you know, the different kind of game modes, like the ghost game mode, murder, all that, I think that's all based on Udon. We will never have games like that, and like the different systems. We're literally making games in a game. It's great. And the new camera has been so integral. The old camera sucked. I'm gonna be real with you, it was awful. I hated it. I always hated it ever since it released. But this new camera is a little bit more optimized. It's got some quality of life buttons to it. I think it's such a fantastic thing. The Quest integration is a very big positive thing, a big difference that we had not done. We're including so many different people who've never been able to include. I think the really cool thing about VR chat that really made it so awesome early on was the start of really diving into what VR is about. And because of the Oculus Quest being so available to people, it really makes it where those people who've never experienced VR are experiencing more and more easier. I mean, VR headsets used to be like $800, $900 back then. Now you can buy like a Oculus Quest like 2 for like what, like $400-$300.
Yeah.
And you just jump in the VR chat and just have fun. And I think that's been a very big positive change, because now there's more people than ever being able to go into the game that wouldn't be able to either previously afford it because they don't have the computer for it, or they can't afford the headset, but now they can because they can just jump in as a Rift on its own.
Mm-hmm. No, I feel you.
Yeah, but those are the big positives that I think this game has definitely had like a big difference compared to before. It's more. Before it was very broad and open, and it was kind of like a Western feeling. It was like kind of an adventure. You're moving from world to world, meeting all these different people. Now, it's more developed in the sense that there's these different communities that you interact with. But there's all these things that are tied into it now that makes it where you don't really have to just move around. You can stay in and just play this one thing, or really just interact with these different communities and meet them. I feel like communities are opening up more as well. I know there was that little bit of a dark age we went through where people weren't really interacting with each other or moving out into outside of their little circle. But now it feels like people are really branching out slowly more, and it's been a very big positive difference.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really, really hopeful for the future of this game now because of just the difference and changes they've been doing.
Oh yeah. Not only that, it's going to get better too. Like for right now, for what we have here, especially everything else in general of what we have in this current present, it's only going to get better as time goes by or so. Especially for what many opportunities could come in happening. So
I was a very big critic of this game. I was very upset with the devs and the community management. I was very upset before. Talk to me like a year ago, and I would say this game was awful and terrible. But after all the recent changes that have been going on and the different kind of patchwork and everything, I now think it is to the point where I am pleased. I am very satisfied where it is, and very hopeful that it's going to be changing in a very good way. Like I promise you, I was horribly critical of this game,
mm-hmm.
like negatively so. I was not pleased at all in its current state. And I felt it was going on. It was staying in that state for way too long. But now, finally that state's like out of it, and now things are good. And now I'm pretty happy about everything. And I will say like they've done a fantastic job now. Took them a little while, but
yeah.
Absolutely great now. I have no complaints anymore.
Yeah, there you go. There you go on him. So, let me ask you this. Is there anything you're looking forward towards in the future of what you've got going on? Or is just like anything in the sense of like basically game-wise, VRC-wise, or anything in particular?
Game-wise, God of War. Oh, it's coming on PC, man. Oh, I can't wait. I want to play that so badly.
Mm-hmm.
They're interacting with girlfriend. Graduating from college in May. Hopefully a new VR headset soon. Getting my job, so I actually have an income in May. So once I graduate, the social work clinic is also hiring me, so I'll be able to actually have an income. I don't have an income.
No, I got you.
And my family can't help me out really that well. They've already helped me out enough with the PC, so I have zero income. So now, come in May, I'll have no more college to do, which means open up free time, 40-hour schedule, which, still a lot of free time, and just being able to just spend the weekends and take PTO time off if I need to, and be paid for it. So I'm pretty excited for May to actually be able to, have a job and not have to juggle between college and other stuff, and still be able to do my hobbies. I can't wait to touch other people's ragdolls, if I get new VR at least. Hoping soon. I can't wait to touch people's ears, their tails. Yeah, it's gonna be really fun. And the fact that we're gonna be interacting with other people's props in this game is gonna be really cool too. Like if they have like a sword, you can pick it up. That was like a one cool thing that another game, I can't remember what other game it was. It's like a VR.
Oh, Neos?
Like game. Yeah, where you can drop like props and stuff and people can interact with your own props. The fact that they're adding that as an actual thing is like super cool in my opinion.
It'll definitely be pretty interesting on hand, because I imagine on hand, like, somebody's able to summon props, and for some reason, it's just kind of like an endless loop of props, and now, I don't know, where you got, like, an entire lobby with swords in their hands. I just imagine that.
Oh my god, the Nerf wars are going to be great.
Oh, that would be funny. That would actually be funny if you could just have like an instant Nerf war or like paintball like kind of game instead of a lobby. That'd be pretty interesting.
But yeah, yeah. Now that I have this new PC, though, thanks to my family and my viewers, I'll be able to actually like play a bunch of cool like AAA title games that are coming out, like God of War, Halo Infinite, whatever other game that releases that piques my interest. Because Dying Light 2.
Mm-hmm. No, I feel you.
Like all these other crazy stuff. Oh, and I'm hoping with crew, we're trying to plan up a vacation to go to Japan during a string festival one year. So we're hopefully planning that one out so we can actually like have an IRL date. So that's been like on the to-do list. And visit some IRL friends as well. I wanna take my little buddy Delta, Dectua, and I wanna suplex him into the ground. That little bastard.
I know.
I wanna challenge Curry in arm wrestling and get suplexed by him because he says the first thing he's gonna do when he sees me is to suplex me. Same with 2 other dudes, so that's gonna be an interesting experience being suplexed by my buddies.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be a unique feeling and it's gonna be a special one.
I was gonna say it's funny because I have a friend of mine named Chaotic Fireblaze, a good friend, brother of mine, and basically if we ever meet up in person, the first thing he said he was gonna do was probably RKO me or powerbomb me the front moment he sees me. So it's not way off on hand from that. God, I can tell you that's
I met up with Nags and them the first time, and the first thing that happened to me was I had like a bunch of people hug me. And I was like, I'm a hugger when it comes to like being in VR, to be honest with you. Yep. I think it's like not socially awkward to just hug some freaking anime girl, I guess, or anime dude.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's like easier to do, but having like 10 different people in like a line try to hug me, like was different. It was very unusual.
I got you. I got you on hand.
I can't wait.
Yep. Yeah, and I'm happy for you, especially for when that time comes for it on hand. But time for me to ask you the curveball question. Now, everybody's going to have a different answer to this topic on hand here, so it'll be pretty interesting on hand for what you're going to say on hand. So let's talk about anime. Now, I have a 3-part question to this to the topic of anime. So the first question I have is, when I say the word anime, what's the first series that comes to your mind when you think of anime?
Thighs.
Thighs? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I don't watch anime.
Oh, you really don't?
But,
okay.
You know, whenever I don't watch anime. But you know, when you go because of this freaking stupid game, you know, everyone and their mother is and their father as well is an anime girl of some sort. And at this point, everyone has this. There's a secret war going on in this freaking game where it's the war of the thighs. Whose thighs can be more luscious or brilliant, you know, compared to the other ones. So now when I think anime, I don't even think like actual anime. I just think thighs, midriff, eyeballs, like cute, adorable eyes, wonderful hair, cute clothes. That's my view on anime.
I got you. I got you.
Really dumb view. It's not even anime, but it is.
Well, it's fine. I mean, hey, if you want to, it can always be switched up to like kind of like something that you would like if you have time to watch on hand. It could be like something like that, even if it has not be anime related on hand. Because I know there's been people in the past who don't really sit down and watch anime, but there's been something that they do sit down and watch on hand here and there, or so when they get time. So the second question on hand is, if you had a top 3 or top 5, say, of whatever you enjoyed you watched on hand, be a movie or a series, what would that be?
My Bride as a Mermaid, One Piece, Gintama, I'm trying to remember this one. How to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, and finally, I'm trying to think of a 5th one. I'm trying to remember what it was. It's been a while. I haven't really watched anime.
Nah, that's all good. Perfectly good. I mean, at best, if you want to start with 4 of these, it's perfectly fine. Who knows? It might actually pop into your mind when we get further down here.
Yeah, maybe. Just give me a second.
No, go ahead.
Let me pull up Crunchyroll. Let me pull up Crunchyroll, because if I pull up Crunchyroll, I could probably figure it out.
No, you're all good.
Phone.
You're perfectly okay on hand here. Also, let me do this really quickly.
Where's my history bar?
There we go. Let's see if that works. I haven't watched anything from Crunchyroll in a while on hand. So.
Mobile Suit Gundam 00.
Oh,
That's
Gundam. I got you.
Yeah, Gundams. Gundams are awesome. But yeah, those are my 5. My Bride as a Mermaid is absolutely funny as hell, especially the dub. You guys never seen it before. I highly recommend you should watch My Bride as a Mermaid. Just watch the dub. Like the English dub is really good. It's hilarious and it's fantastic. It's not even like a proper romance. It's just silly. It's like a silly slapstick comedy of like a mermaid and magic powers and stuff. One Piece. I love the adventure of it. I love just how long it is. The one thing that always bummed me out was these adventures seeming like they would keep like have a potential thing going on. Like they never like conclusively end.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what happens after the end of them, but One Piece is just still going, and I think that's really cool because I think there's always something more to go on to in the wide world of One Piece. Gintama is fantastic. It's an adult comedy.
Yep.
And it's funny, and it has some of the best fight scenes in anime history. It's like very episodic. So it's not like there's an overarching arc on around it, like an overarching goal in the anime that they want to reach. But there's little episodes that happen in between that adds on to these little arcs eventually near the end of like each arc, and it's like really cool. And Gundam, Mobile Suit Gundam 00, it is just cool. I think it's really cool. And the picking up girls in a dungeon. You would think it's like some sort of like etchy like blah blah blah, but I think it's like one of the best like hero animes. Like a hero adventure animes. Like the main character straight up is heroic. He is honest to God. Like he's not there just to get action. He's there to really strive forward and truly be a hero, and you see him do that. I remember the 5th anime that wasn't Mobile Suit Gundam, My Hero Academia. That's what it was. Heroes.
There you go.
God.
There you go.
That was the 5th one.
Oh yeah.
My Hero Academia, because it's just the heroics of it, the superheroes. I love superheroes. But yeah, I guess those are the tie-ins. I don't watch really animes anymore, to be honest with you.
No, it's okay. It's perfectly okay.
I haven't watched One Piece in forever, but those are the ones that I was very much interested in.
No, it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine, which actually leads to the last question to this topic on hand, which I feel like for the most part, it'll probably depend, since you already watched like a little bit of it on hand, each one's on hand, not like a lot of anime, it'll probably just be like an easy thing for you, but what is the anime series or movie that hit you close to home? Like when you watch it, you relate to it hard. Like it feels like it's a story about you or how you felt.
Gintama.
Gintama?
Because I'm poor as shit and I don't have money and I'm trying to do whatever I can to make it. And I'm not like an asshole or trying to like I will never beat someone down, but at least I help them out.
Yeah.
And I have goofy friends that beat me up or berate me because they're just being silly, but they'll always have my back. I think the anime that I'll always relate to the most though is probably Gintama, because it just of course there's no aliens maybe or magic powers or something like that. I'm not exactly the most fit individual in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
But being poor and trying to strive with what you have and work with your friends to make sure their life doesn't suffer in the end either alongside with you, and they help you out. I think I relate that to the most out of any other anime I've ever seen.
No, I feel you. I feel you on hand there with that. So, but this is getting me down to my last question. I'm going to move this camera over there to you so we can put you over here. And let's raise this down a little bit here. That way we can get you over here. All right, there we go. And my question for you on hand is, what are your goals and dreams? And at best,
be poor.
And no, you're fine.
Yeah.
And at best, what is the best advice you ever give to anybody? I'm gonna back up. I'm gonna let you have center stage for this. I'm just gonna lean back here.
Take up any opportunity. Do not, and seriously, if you have mental problems, like health problems, right? Like I don't mean like a mental disability or anything. I mean like if you're not happy, if you're not doing good, just bite the bullet, man. Try to get professional help. I cannot emphasize enough how much professional help is like readily accessible to people. It's just not well known. If you're not doing good, get help. And take up like opportunities you see. If you see an opportunity, don't just go, oh, I'm not going to make it. You don't know that. Go forward. Push it. Push your luck, man. Do it. If it ends up being a waste of time, it ends up being a waste of time. But you, like, I know it's probably been the most like constantly pushed concept, but you miss every shot you don't take. And honestly, man, if you play shooters, you know for a fact, if you know you're probably going to miss, but you still need to shoot them anyways, you're still going to shoot, even if you miss, because there's that chance. You take that and you put that in the same sort of concept that of life, where you try to just do whatever you can. Well, you can too. I mean, but yeah, just don't give up. Get professional help if you need it. You know, take every opportunity you can. Don't miss your shots. Seriously, if you miss your shots, you're gonna regret it, and it's gonna suck, and it's never fun. But yeah, that's my advice. My dream is literally just not to be poor anymore and help people. That's all I want to do.
No, that's fine.
I want to be happy doing what I want to do as well, and not be poor, because I want to be able to buy.
No, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine on hand here. So, let me make sure I got this angled up here so that way everybody can see you. But yeah, no, that's perfectly fine. And I will say on hand, for overall sake or so, especially for what you have shared on hand here and there, I will say, I for the most part on hand, I could tell on hand that you have a heart of gold, bud. And I say that right up front just because you care about a lot of people, you do it with good intentions, and not only that, you want to help people on hand here. And to pretty much live by a quote from pretty much Demon Souls on hand from one Stockpile Thomas, you have a heart of gold, don't let anybody take that away from you.
Well, you know what? Because you said that, I need to murder you somehow.
Don't want to be overly balanced on you. No, you're all good. But before we go, and before we call it on hand here and there, I'm going to ask everybody in chat, does anybody have any questions for MysticalCyan on hand? If you want to ask him anything on hand, any questions at all that you guys would want to ask him. So while they're coming up with questions on hand, I'm going to ask you this. The name MysticalCyan, where did that name originate from?
Literally, I came up with a name because Cyan was kind of like a little RP character I had in one game I played, and I stuck with it. And I was like, you know, I want to go in a VR chat, but I want to make a difference. If I'm just named Cyan, it's not gonna sound so flashy. It's gonna sound stupid. Like, you know, like, look at this Cyan guy. You know, it's just Cyan. Like, you know, even Cyan Lullaby, where they have like Cyan and Little Heart. You know, it's flashy. If it's just Cyan, it's gonna look stupid. Or like, you know, yeah, Cyan Laser. So I was like, what would be a cool name that's like sort of ambiguous and cute, but like it's still science. So I was like, Mr. Cyan. And it just stuck. Yeah. And that's it.
I got you. Pretty much stuck on hand here and there for it. I don't see if anybody have any questions for this, but I do have one more thing I was going to ask you. I've noticed on hand you're basically changing yourself over to being a strawberry in a way or so. What was the change for that on hand that inspired you to go from basically being that on hand?
I literally found this avatar and it was super cute and I liked it, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna become a strawberry, so I become a strawberry.
There you go.
Literally by chance I found this. I met some random person and they were super duper adorable. I'm like, can I clone you? And they're like, sure. And like, I am strawberry now, and I just like being a strawberry.
No, that's fine. That is perfectly fine. Hey, it's pretty much what it comes down to. When you get like a good avatar that you enjoy on hand, you want to have a version of it on hand and just be able to make it like your own or so. And hey, it works. It works on hand here and there.
Yeah.
So, but unfortunately, I don't have any more questions on hand from anybody in chat on hand to be able to ask you or so. But
are you single?
In a sense, yeah. In a sense.
Hook you up. You ever met anyone named Dia?
Dia?
Yeah, I can introduce you. She's a sweetheart. You know, I can introduce you to Dia. She's very sweet, very kind. I'll hook you up.
Okay. I mean, I wouldn't mind basically meeting new people and basically talking to them here and there, so I wouldn't mind that. So.
Oh hell yeah! All right, we're starting up a date then. All right.
Good lord. But
Yeah, I'm gonna
I don't
invite
get
her
it.
in here just so she can
No, you're good.
just so she can meet you, the future potential date.
Good lord. That's fine. I mean, I got no problem meeting new people on hand. And also, Kayak, don't worry. Even if you don't have any questions, sadly, it's fine. And hey, put it this way on hand. Like I said, and just like his friends were going to do to him, like I said, when we meet up, you're definitely probably going to powerbomb me or so here and there. I guarantee it. So, always a wrestling move. But I will say, with that in mind, that will be episode 72 of Shoot the Breeze, the last Shoot the Breeze for the year 2021.